Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to this edition of SportsView on learmedia.tv on Monday, the 3rd of March 2025. Good evening, Derwynne.
Hey Pat, hi Joe.
Good evening, Joe.
Evening, Pat. Evening, Derwynne. How are we doing?
Anna won't be with us tonight as she has had a bereavement in the family and
Sorry.
commiserations to Anna, and I hope she'll be all right. And I was in contact with her this morning, so hopefully she'll be okay. Anyway, on tonight's show, we'll be looking at soccer, rugby, golf, uh, darts, and boxing. A shameful exhibition of professional boxing last Saturday night, but we'll talk about it later on. And I have a little clip with Andy Lee, who's the manager of Paddy the Real Deal Donovan from Ennis, up the road from where I'm living. And anyway, he's fighting in Belfast. And I was just looking at soccer matches. There's an FA Cup. The last of the fifth round of the FA Cup is on as we're on there. Nottingham Forest versus Ipswich Town. And the winner will play Brighton in the quarter final. Anyway, there's 7 referees employed now at a soccer match in England. 7. There's what we call the referee on the pitch, which is the referee appointed for the game, which he doesn't seem to have any function anymore except speaking his microphone and wave his arms. And then there's 2 assistant referees as well on the line, 2 assistant referees. And then there's a couple of referees up on the VAR as well. So I don't know who has the last word anymore in soccer on the field of play.
Well, I'm totally lost, and now you've got automated linesmen as well.
But who has the last word on an incident on a soccer pitch today? We all know, Joe, when you're playing, it was the referee and that was it. Like, you knew that was it, and there was no more about it. But today, they're pointing to the television screen all day when there's something wrong, and I don't know, lads. Sepp Blatter and Michel Platini are up in court again in Switzerland. The case they expect to last 4 or 5 days. Septic Blatter said he's innocent anyway. He's an honourable man. All right. It's about the payment to. I know we're all laughing at it. He's 80. He's 89 years of age, and God. I saw him being interviewed today on one of the channels.
He looks about 120 when you see him in the pictures of him.
You couldn't make it up. But he paid Michel Platini, or the FIFA paid him 1.6 million euros. Remember that? And there was no explanation as why he did it. And he said it was for work done or something like that. And now anyway, it's the whole thing is coming home to roost.
I read today on a website.
Yeah.
It's on BBC. The Platini apparently paid Blatter €500,000 to take over the presidency.
Oh.
He was selling his vote on the committee.
Oh.
Platini job, and Platini paid him €500,000 for the privilege. He's suing Blatter as well.
God, jeez,
the money back.
I don't know what to say anymore. From that part of the facade, Michel Platini was an absolutely fabulous player in his day. He was such a fabulous soccer player. I mean, you pay money to see him playing, real money. And to have this sort of mess going on is... Well, over the weekend, just soccer over the weekend, Liverpool, Man United, Man City won in the league, but the cup was on the weekend just gone. It was down to the last one. So Fulham will be playing Crystal Palace, and Preston North End will be playing Aston Villa. Bournemouth will be playing Man City, and Brighton will be playing either Nottingham Forest or Ipswich Town in the last of the quarterfinals, and the fifth round is on tonight as we speak. So there was a tackle. There was a tackle in one of the games on the
Palace
pitch, the Crystal Palace game, and Well, thankfully there was no serious injuries or anything. It looked worse than it was. I'm not trying to minimise it. I'm just saying it looked potentially horrific when it happened, but he's up the both player, the goalkeeper's fine anyway, you know. But did you see it, Darren? What do you think of it?
Well, it's unbelievable. 25 stitches in his ear. He basically cut his ear in half. The boot, one of the studs on the boot.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I mean, it was. I don't know. I mean, it was just crazy. Well, it was a crazy move by the goalkeeper, but I don't know. I kind of lost. I've never seen anything like that.
And the referee was looking. Go on, Joe.
I have seen that once before, to be very fair. That was in a World Cup match when the German goalkeeper.
Oh yeah, he flattened you.
Patrick Betancourt, was it?
Yeah.
But he was a French fullback.
Yeah.
That was going through, and he came out and nearly decapitated him.
And nothing happened at the match, did it?
That happened. I think it was the quarter-final game that in Germany were playing.
Yeah.
Was it Patrick Battiston? Was the guy that got tackled by the who was it? Harold Schumacher was the goalkeeper.
Sure. Yeah.
And you know, I mean that was absolutely despicable. And nothing happened in that. I mean, he should have been red carded for that.
Well, he should be off anyway.
But I mean, any time the goalkeeper comes out, let's be very honest here, right? We had a player that kung fu tackled a supporter and got suspended for a year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We now have a player on the field doing exactly the same thing, totally out of control. Nearly, I mean, how anybody turns around and says that this was not a premeditated attempt at hurting somebody is telling a lie, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're blind.
When a goalkeeper comes out and he leaves the ground with 2 feet off the ground, with his leg extended, with his six studs up at a player's head. If a field player does that, there is absolutely no looking at VAR, no looking at anything else. It is an automatic red card.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And for the manager of Crystal Palace or Millwall to turn around and say he's seen worse tackles like that in his career, then he's been disingenuous as well.
Yeah.
Because anytime that anything like that happens, it happened with in the World Cup final between Holland and Spain when the Dutch guy caught Iniesta in the middle of his chest.
Yeah.
A red card for it. So at any time you leave the ground like that, you are causing serious problems.
He got a red card, right?
Right.
And rightly so. But I don't think that's sufficient for what he did.
Oh, I agree. I mean, he should be facing.
Well, like Cantona, as you said, got 12 months and off the pitch.
Right.
So I think they should, at a minimum, they should give him 12 months.
Right. So what's the difference? It's a spectator and a player.
Yeah.
I mean, where do we draw the line here?
Well, I wonder will there be a line drawn with all the carry on around soccer today? You know, I don't know really. It will be interesting to see will the FA step in and do something positive about dirty play like that. You know, it was appalling. It was appalling.
That was really dangerous, wasn't it?
It was dangerous as well. Like
could have lost an eye there.
I mean, the referee is there,
looking at it,
protect the players and enforce the laws of the game.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what their job is, and how it had to go to VAR is is beyond me.
I didn't see the match. I didn't see that match. So did it go to VAR?
Yeah, it went to VAR. Mike Oliver went over and looked at
The referee was looking at the foul.
Yeah, I know. But again,
I think
it goes back to your point. Who's
Who's
making
the
the decision? Is he afraid to make the decision originally on the field?
well, I think the referees have got a rod for their own back now with VAR. I think they go to VAR as a you tell me what you saw, and I'll tell you what I think.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't. It's not like rugby, is it? Where the
No.
referee actually says, "I believe there was foul play at this point," and VAR confirm or don't confirm.
Yeah, Ari says, I believe there was a try. Can you tell me, is there any reason why there shouldn't be one? The referee makes the decision, yeah.
Yeah, whereas VAR is being used, really, it's VAR in an office near Heathrow that's making all the calls, because they're the one that buzzes the ref and says, you want to have a look at this.
Now, I watched Man United and Fulham most of the match. There were the Man United are the FA Cup holders in that game. They were playing at home. Man United, weren't they? Yeah, they were playing at Old Trafford.
Trafford, yeah.
I noticed quite a lot of empty seats in the ground as well, you know. And but the game itself was very poor standard altogether in the game. I thought it was a very poor standard anyway, you know. And in fairness to, I think Bruno Fernandes, despite all we might say about him, he's the only class player in that team at the moment.
Well, I said something to a mate of mine last night.
Yeah.
I watched that game, and you sit there and you go, you know, United have been really lucky this year because Fernandes hasn't been injured. Because if he was injured, United would be, I think, in a relegation battle.
Yeah, and you buy a player to score goals. That guy Hoyland or Garnacho. What?
Well, you watched that young kid Obi come on.
Yeah.
He instantly started chasing and running and
yeah, as you should do. As you should do.
It was a threat, and you do, as a United fan, you do sit there and kind of go, well, what at this stage? Why isn't he trying all these kids out? Because Eriksen's past his best, Casemiro's past his best. You know, Lindehoff is past his best, and you think, well, if you I don't know, Joe. You tell me, you're the pro footballer. I mean, to me, I don't see what United have got to lose anymore.
Well, who was the coach of Manchester United now? The actual coach?
Well, the head coach is Amarin. So he's the guy. I mean, you know, you listen to the commentary, right? And you listen to what they're saying about United and to what you're speaking about there, Derwynne. The commentators said about the United bench, well, they don't have much on the bench. They have 4 teenagers on it. Right? So it's kind of like Spurs have gone all year having to use young players. Right? Forced on them. Right?
Yeah.
Because of injuries and what have you. But you're absolutely right. And we've spoken on here before that, Bruno Fernandes, we've been critical of him at times and we've supported him at times. But Derwynne, the statement that you made right there, that you said to your buddy, if he'd had a long-term injury at United, then, and you said they would have been in a relegation battle, then that is a huge statement about his value to the team.
Oh yeah, they do. I mean, it was obvious in the match yesterday right. That
sometimes, when we compare players and we think about players, we we think about them in comparison to other players. And I think sometimes that happens subconsciously. It doesn't happen deliberately, it's subconsciously. But I remember what Jimmy Bloomfield said when some of our scouts came back from evaluating players that or a player that we were going to buy. And the scouts are in the office talking, well, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. And Jimmy Bloomfield turned to him and said, tell me what he does do. That's what I want to know.
Yeah,
Other stuff I can work with him on, but it doesn't bring out for us to bring him in and do that. And that's the thing with it, you know. So Bruno has things that are not his best attributes, but he certainly has other attributes that are outstanding. And if you surrounded him with other top class players, then you might be looking at a different picture completely. So
yeah.
But as to the young guys, I mean, I'm all for it. I mean, what have you got to lose at this stage of the season? I mean, you look at the bottom three in the league. I don't think any of those three are going to escape out there, or if they do, they'll be very fortunate.
They will.
So you may as well go for it, because you know what kind of a statement is that? You've just been knocked out at home in the FA Cup that you're the champion of.
Yeah,
right.
Been to the last
And
two finals.
You're trying to make the quarterfinal of the FA Cup, right? And you said, well, the goal is to win the Premier League.
Yeah.
You know what I think his goal might actually be, to keep it very, very simple, is win one game, and then win two games, and then win three games, instead of the goal is to win the Premier League. You know.
Well, I saw Garnacho playing in that match. I'm no expert in tactics and all of that and what have you. He was going down the wing with the ball, and he ran himself and the ball out of play.
I mean, let's be honest, that happens.
I know, but he had only one player to beat.
Right, but
just one player.
But again, you know, it's very fine margins. He is looking to get a couple of inches past that defender.
I take the point.
Yeah, and those are the fine margins that you're talking about. And I mean, and I think I've said it on this program before, but Brian Clough thought the world of Alan Hinton.
Yeah.
Half the people watching, they used to call his nickname was Alice, right? Because he didn't go in for tackles and what have you. But Brian Clough said, have you ever tried going down the wing, get the pass into the box with a defender putting their six studs right on your ankle as you kick the ball? He said, and he continues to do that time and time again, right? So that in itself is something. And again, we're talking about a young player that needs time and that is not getting the best support he can from a lot of people around him. So I would not be critical about guys. It's very, very difficult. You know, think about this, right? The amount of things that you have to think about as you're running down the line, right? And I've told my players this the whole time. When you're defending a wing player or somebody taking you on, he said, all you've got to do is watch the ball. Keep your eye on the ball and be ready to block that. Don't take any notice of step overs or whatever they're trying to do, or dummies or whatever. Just watch the ball. Well, the guy dribbling has to watch the ball. He has to watch the defender. He has to watch the end line, and he's got to be looking for his players in the box to see if there's anybody in there. And that's just some of the things that go into you having to do all of these jobs, you know. So it's a very difficult place to be, and it does times that you run the ball out, and it's unfortunate.
Well, I mean, against the Moneybags of Man City, I must pay tribute to Plymouth Argyle. They went down fighting anyway, even though they were beaten in the end 3-1. But I think they equipped themselves very well, you know. And also, I suppose another hero team in the cup is Preston North End. They're the only non-Premiership team gone through to the quarterfinals, you know, which uh, which is really good, you know. And they're just outside. They're a bit far back to make. They might make it into the playoffs in the championship. That's Preston, you know. They're doing well. And I don't know whether they will or not, but I mean they're doing well. Now next next Thursday, not next Thursday, Man United are away to Real Sociedad in the Europa League Thursday night. And I don't know what's going to happen there, but Thursday we have Rangers on the way to Fenerbahce and Spurs on the way to AZ Alkmaar in the Europa League. So there you are. I see Jose Mourinho had a nice cut off of Jamie Carragher. You know, you have Jamie Carragher. He said, talking to his, I won't say the language he used, a man that never won the Premier League. You know, a soccer player never won it. You know, and he's an expert in it all of a sudden, and he went on and on. Got to the marvelous rant. I couldn't clip it out because you weren't allowed to share the interview, you know. but,
You know, I mean, it is easy, and you know, everybody not playing at that moment in time looks at it and goes, you know, and then they're critical of what's going on. But
Yeah.
their personal opinion, you know,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Derwynne, I don't know if you remember, Pat, if you remember, but I think it was in the British Open. It was either the British Open or the US Open, but I think it was the British Open when Doug Saunders missed like
Yeah.
what was it, a foot
That's
putt
St
or
Andrews.
something like that to win. And everybody is out there saying, you know, well, I could have done that. I could have done that. How could he miss that? You know, but you stand over that putt and thinking of you're you're going to go down in history as the Open champion.
Yeah.
And all that pressure, and then all of a sudden it just comes to bear, and it's huge. I mean, and that's what sports does to you. And every decision you make is second guessed
True.
when it doesn't go right.
I mean, that
That's
putt was 3 foot.
Is it
And
three?
it breaks left to right downhill, and it's a horrible putt on the 18th at St Andrews. That putt. I mean, whenever you play it, there's a golden rule that you always leave it short of the flag, and if anything, you favour the right hand side of the green because it's a right to left uphill putt, and you stay away from sort of. You're always trying to. There's the Valley of Sin in front of that green, which people don't realise that Valley of Sin is about 8 foot deep. You know, people see on TV and it looks like a little dip. It's
Yeah.
very deep that is, and it's a bit. I mean, if you got that putt through that, if you think of what you know, you're saying about that putt Saunders misses, but if you think come more forward and the one that Constantino Rocca holds to
yes.
get to the playoff on the same that putt he holed was down through the Valley of Sin, up and over it, and he holed it from about 30-40 feet.
What about poor Van der Velde, was it?
Yeah, at Carnoustie. But I mean, what Joe's just said, the pressure side of it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, you don't know until you've got it whether it's to make the cut or win the tournament. You know, the hole gets smaller.
This week in soccer we have we're back to Europe. Tomorrow night you have my team of the tournament so far is Bruges. Bruges are playing Aston Villa. Dortmund are playing Lille, PSV are playing Arsenal. That's tomorrow night. And Real Madrid are playing Atletico Madrid. That could be a bloodbath. That's it. That's that one. That's a
that could be a good game.
Huh?
That could be a good game to watch. That.
They're on tomorrow night. And Wednesday, then you have Feyenoord playing Inter Milan. You have Bayern Munich playing Leverkusen, a local derby. And you have Benfica playing Barcelona. And PSG playing Liverpool, which has the makings of a terrific game. PSG and Liverpool.
Yeah, there's some tasty games in that.
Huh?
Some really nice games.
Yeah, there's some very good games turned out at the end. And Thursday we have as we said, we have the Europa League, and we have the conference. Chelsea are playing. I can't read my own writing. They're playing the conference as well. Next Thursday night. So just all Europe, just Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. There's some cracking games there. So get your popcorn ordered in. Well, Tuesday you'll be full of pancakes. It's pancake night, so you can have all your pancakes with the soccer on Tuesday. So get over a bottle and pour in. Have the pan and the ring on, you're fine. Just moving along to rugby. We have the finish of the Six Nations coming up the weekend. We have Ireland and France playing on Saturday at 2:15 our time. The Scotland and Wales on Saturday as well at 4:45. And then England are playing Italy on Sunday. Has the Six Nations really excited anybody this year in the rugby? Derwynne, what do you think, the rugby itself?
I think some of it has. I think Italy's done unbelievably well.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
I mean, from a Wales point of view, that last game was pretty good for Wales.
I thought Wales had a bit of life against Ireland. That was.
Yeah.
They equipped themselves pretty well, and that has the potential of a good game. Wales and Scotland, you know.
Yeah, That wouldn't surprise me if Wales nicked that.
Yeah.
If they
Ireland and France are playing for the championship.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all said before it even started, it's France or Ireland, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, and that's no surprise.
It's the game after is the big one for Wales, isn't it? England in Cardiff.
Yeah. I think that I think the rugby has been poor myself. That's my own opinion. The Six Nations
boring. In what
poor.
sense do you think that?
When you're comparing the other major rugby tournaments with Argentina, South Africa, New Zealand, and Australia. Australia are gone back a bit, but I think the standard in the championship, as they call it, has been fantastic. Those two games with the All Blacks and the Argentina, you see them on YouTube. They're worth watching. And South Africa are.
I think it's hard though, because that Southern Hemisphere Championship, that's played really while they're coming towards the end of their season, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're well tuned in to playing international rugby, and then like the Six Nations it's in the middle of the season, really. And
yeah, because you have the Premiership in England, you have top 14, and you have the URC, the United Rugby Championship as well.
So I think some of the players get injured and don't make it to some of these Six Nation games, don't they?
That's right.
And I think you've got 6 teams in the Six Nations that are all at different stages of development, aren't they, really? Whereas if you think of that Southern Hemisphere one, there's 4 teams. Like, it's hard not to bet on New Zealand every time, isn't it?
It used to be the case, but you have South Africa, who I think are the number one team in the world at the moment, I think.
But they all those 4 teams all go in swings and roundabouts, don't they?
They do, yeah. They do.
It's like they nearly take it in turns to be number one, other than Argentina.
Yeah. Argentina made in the United Rugby Championship. Munster were beaten at home last Friday night by Edinburgh 28-34. Leinster beat Cardiff 42-24. Ulster beat Scarlets 30-28, and Connacht beat Benetton in 38-30. Rogers' team lost again. The La Rochelle were beaten again by Stade Francais 22-17. I think he said there in an interview recently that it may be time for him to move on. That's Ronan O'Gara, you know. I think he's achieved as much as he can achieve with the team. I think it's a good quality of a manager when they realise, you know, their time is up. You know, I think it's a good quality of a manager. You know.
It's interesting, to go back to the Six Nations. What exactly were we looking for from the Six Nations? Because from my perspective, it couldn't have been much better than it was, right? When you're talking about games and contested games and not blowout games. There was one blowout game, but you had England Ireland, which was a terrific game.
Good, an arm wrestle, yeah.
Yeah, it was, and it was right down to the wire that either team could have won it. You had England France, very same thing, right down to the wire. Either team could have won it. England won it. You had France, or you had Scotland and Ireland, and then you had Scotland and England.
Yeah,
they missed winning the game.
They did by
a try conversion.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at it, it was a great competition, and the only bad game in it was, and it was a bit unfortunate for the Italians, was that they got France right after they lost to England, and no matter what he says, well, we'll get it.
They put up 74 points against them.
Right, but it was just they're coming back to prove something, but you're against Italy. You're not proving anything. You've already lost to England, so the damage has been done to you. So, and now we've got the potential of the game at the weekend with Ireland and Italy, or Ireland and France.
France, that'll be a cracker. Well, there's the makings of a cracker.
And then, Ireland's got to play Italy at the end of it, and we've never really. I mean, we've beaten them, but that could be.
We never put 70 points up on them.
Yeah, if we do well against the French at the weekend. So it's been a pretty competitive Six Nations in terms of games and what have you.
That's true.
And it's the age old, you look at it, the competition between the natural competition that we have, right? Between Ireland, England, Scotland, and Wales, that was the Triple Crown originally, right? You win that, right? So it's always been those four countries going head to head, and they all have different reasons for wanting to beat each other, right? And batter each other. That's just the nature. But and then we added France to it, when we brought in the Five Nations, and we all have our things with France one way or the other when it goes. So there's a lot of inbuilt animosity into what is now the Six Nations, especially with the original ones. So it's never an easy. I mean, there's a reason that nobody has ever won 3 Grand Slams in a row.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. It's
the competition of it.
You're right, Joe, with the rivalries. I mean, like I just said tonight, the biggest game for Wales every year is England.
Right.
Yeah.
Scotland's biggest game, England.
Yeah.
Ireland's biggest game, England.
England, yeah.
Biggest game, England.
Sorry, England. We don't all hate you.
No, but it's true though, isn't it? If you think, if you look at it, there's a grudge match against England for everybody, isn't there?
Yeah.
Other than the Italians, I mean, but they haven't got a grudge, really, have you? I mean, if I don't know how far back you want to go, but maybe the English have got a grudge against the Romans or something. But
The Italians maybe and the French would have more of
yeah,
yeah.
but if you think about it, every big game involves England, really, or from a fan's attitude towards it.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah, that was the yardstick which you measured
And
your ear by.
like you said, some of those matches, there's it's more than just a rugby game, isn't it? It's bragging rights. It's all sorts of.
Oh, it is. Yeah,
Isn't it?
you're copy the walk for 12 months.
I mean, you could look further afield than that as well. I mean, you look at Australia and New Zealand
Yeah,
would have England, South Africa would have
England.
England. You know,
Yeah.
so everywhere you look look at Argentina. Who would they be against?
England. Yeah.
Germany.
So
Don't mention the war. You started it. No, you didn't. Oh, yes, you did.
I'm starting to
But
feel
yeah,
very sort of.
everybody. Yeah,
I think I've got to play on this Welsh ancestry and Irish ancestry, haven't I?
yeah.
I've got to drop the Wembley thing. Come
Yeah.
from a village just outside of Limerick.
Yeah.
About 700 miles outside it, but
You can make up a name and they won't know where it is in Irish, you'll be fine. You know, they'll all shake your hand. But we had a few golf tournaments over the weekend as well. And one of my favourite golfers, Lydia Ko, I see she's in the winning circle again. She won the Women's World Championship. And she won minus 13, 71, 67, 68, and 69. So it was, our golfer that won last week was Athea Titikul. Remember her from last week? She was runner up.
easy
She was
for you again, wasn't it?
she was the runner up this time. And Leona Maguire was playing as well in the tournament. She finished at minus 2. She had the first 2 rounds. She just made the cut 75 and 73, but she had 2 good rounds at the end, 68 and 69, you know. So she's finished in 21st place. And there you go. But Lydia Ko won $360,000. That was her win. The South African Open was won by, strangely enough, a South African golfer, Dylan Naidu, in a playoff against Laurie Cantor from England. And he won the playoff. They both finished at minus 14. He got less money than Lydia Ko for winning the South African Open on the DP World Tour. He $255,000. So, we had the Cognizant Classic. The first 8 or 9 golfers I didn't know who they were, and that's not nothing to do with me. They were, I won't say they were nobodies. That's unfair, but they were. I didn't know who they were. I was watching. I was watching because Shane Lowry was playing it, and he played a reasonable tournament. Joe Higgsmith. Yes, he won it at minus 19, 65, 72, 64, and 64. And the guy who shot at 59 in the first round, he finished 7th or 8th. But Joe Higgsmith, for winning that golf tournament, he won $1.6 million. His card is guaranteed to 2027. He has got automatic entry into the Masters tournament and the PGA Championship as a result of winning that tournament. You know,
and I think he'll be in the Open as well with that.
Yeah, fantastic. The British Open. Yeah, you're right. It's an incredible thing to win a tournament like that. We said it before, and it means you can.
I think what we've all got, everybody, is start thinking about is that if it's a par 72 golf course, it's actually a par 68 because the 4 par 5s they will reach into.
They will, yeah. They're all reaching to, yeah.
So they're just long par 4s for.
Yeah.
And, you kind of, if you were McIlroy, you will look at a golf course like Bay Hill next week or this week, and you will go with 68 par because there's 4 par 5s. I can reach all of those. And if he does it the way he should do it, he's going to be 4 under par with 14 pars and 4 birdies. on the par five.
Yeah,
Now,
yes.
He does that 4 times. He's 16 under.
He is, yeah.
And he's not the only player with that thought process. There is every single player teeing it up hits it that far that they are thinking that par fives are not par fives. They're just long par fours. If they hit it in the fairway, they'll knock it on the green in 2.
Well, the American commentators on the Golf Channel seems to love Shane Lowry anyway because he got a lot of coverage on the thing, you know.
Larry's just a great lad. He's just
he chipped in twice from off the green. They were just saying I wouldn't be surprised if he did it because I think he's one of the top class chippers in the game, you know, top class.
His short game is fantastic, but he is just a nice lad. I mean, he is a good lad to play golf.
He is, yeah. He's in the 66, 68, 70, and 67. He finished minus 13. He finished $190,000, so a nice little check for himself.
But there's a big swing now, so they're going Bay Hill. I think it's Bay Hill. Then it's the Players' Championship at Sawgrass. So the big names now are coming back out for the next 3 weeks. They'll be on a 3-week run.
Well, you had Fowler and Spieth were in the fields the weekend as well, and a few more
but
people.
Spieth was playing for one reason only. If Fowler's playing the same reason, they're struggling.
Yeah.
So Spieth.
I was watching. I watched a little bit of golf over the weekend in between the FA Cup games and what have you. Was that tournament you're talking about that the kid won?
The Cognizant Classic.
Yeah. Did he nearly miss the cut on that?
Who?
He only just made the cut, yeah.
Yeah.
The winner just made the cut, yeah.
Yeah.
So he just makes the cut.
He come from 8 shots back.
And then he goes and wins the whole thing. And
he did.
You know, just imagine the difference right there between one and two.
Another funny story about him, his mother was at the tournament and she had a plane booked to go back and she said she'd be only able to follow him till the 9th hole. She'd have to go in and get her flight. But he said that he was zoned in then when he realized he had a chance to win. But on the 12th hole, or 11th or 12th hole, he made a birdie, but he looked up for some reason and she was still there. She decided to cancel the plane because he was in contention. And I think those things are nice stories about the game as well, you know. And
I deal with him afterwards, and they were asking him, you know, what prepared him for that, you know, and what have you. And he said, college golf prepared me for it. The competition in college golf is so intense right now. He said there are so many very good players coming out of the college system that, you know, you're going to be looking at new names probably for a while. People coming through. You know?
I mean, it's tough to make a scholarship now.
Oh yeah.
And you've heard me say it before. They're coming out of college and turning pro straight away.
Yeah.
And there's no learning process. They're straight in it because in some ways they've been competing at a very similar level within the college system.
I know there was an amateur in the field over the weekend and he was playing some fantastic golf, you know. He's only 19 or 20 or something.
You've got to mention over here with Dale Whitnell having 2 hole-in-ones in the same round.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right,
how about that? One on the front 9, one on the back 9.
We actually had, I heard it on the sports news last night, that there was a kid that graduated from the high school that I coached at Bellarmine Prep. And he was in one of the tournaments over the weekend and had done very well in that. I'm not sure which tournament he was in, but you know, like I said, there's so many of these kids out there that are. It's amazing the amount now of young golfers that are going to start crashing the scene and kind of.
No doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. There's lots and lots of young golfers on the circuit. I must say, very young golfers. Between 20 and 25, like very very young. I think Hicksmith was only 24. Was it 24?
Yeah.
Yeah, 24 something like that. Anyway, we had a boxing tournament over the weekend, professional box tournament promoted by Eddie Hearn up in Belfast, up the road from us here, and. Andy Lee, do you remember Andy Lee, the boxer Andy Lee from Limerick? He was managing Paddy Donovan, who was a classy boxer. I don't know if you ever see any of these fights. But he was fighting Crocker for a preliminary. They had a preliminary fight, and the winner would fight for the world title. Now, Paddy, if you know anything about boxing, Paddy is a southpaw against the orthodox. So when they're going attacking, they're both going in like this. So you're going to have a clash of heads. The referee, for some reason or another, and I don't want to say anything that's libelous, warned Paddy Donovan and took a point off of him in 2 different rounds for the use of the head. You're entitled to use it, but as Andy Lee said, he didn't warn Crocker at all, even though Crocker went in with his head as well. There was 2 head clashes, 3 or 4 head clashes. Anyway, he disqualified Paddy Donovan at the 8th round for hitting your man after the bell. 2 fights previous to that, the exact same thing happened. He gave your man a count that was knocked down after getting struck with the bell was rung in the 2 fights before that on the same card. A different referee. And gave him time to recover, more time to recover, and off you go. But he disqualified Paddy Donovan. No one knows why. He wasn't right beside it. He wasn't up with the action as well. I don't think he was that fit of a man anyway. But anyway, this is what Andy Lee had to say after the fight.
Initially, I was proud. I was proud going for the fight. I was proud of how he's boxing, how he's handling the occasion, the hostile crowd, everything else. The deck was stacked against us here tonight, and ultimately they robbed us. But in spite of all that, Paddy showed what a champion he is, how good he is, and he's a lot better, actually a lot better than that, because Lewis was making a big meal of it. Paddy never complained once about headbutts. Paddy never once complained about low blows. Paddy got on with his job, and Marcus McDonald didn't do his job. He's supposed to be strong. He admitted to me after the first one. I said to him, "They're both going in the heads." He said, "Yes, I can see that." He said, "I know," but never wants to even look at Lewis. And he gave the second warning, and that's why Paddy had to box desperate. He was nowhere. He was nowhere near the end of the fight. He was a spectator in the ring. If we didn't hit a bell, no one heard the bell. He obviously didn't hit a bell. He didn't hit the bell because if he heard the bell, he would have said, "Stop boxing." Lewis had been dropped once. Paddy was on the way to stopping him. He could see that. Why isn't he close to the action? Why isn't he there to stop? First of all, to stop Paddy from getting himself disqualified, and to stop Lewis from taking that punch, because you can't. That was very dangerous. Hopefully, Lewis takes the fight.
Do you expect him to?
No, because Paddy Donovan gave him a boxing lesson over 8 rounds. He was ahead in all 3 cards. Despite 2-point deductions in 2 different rounds, he was still way ahead of him. And the box ahead of him, and it was a bad smell of the fight. That's all I will say before I get too mad after watching it live. My God, I've seen. Do you remember back in the Seoul Olympics in 1988 when the boxers sat in the ring or the protest? Remember that?
Yeah.
When he was wrong, it reminded me of all those, and Michael Conlan's decision at the Olympics in Brazil, was it? The fight where he was
at Rio,
at Rio, where he was robbed by the Russian, and the Russian couldn't fight his next fight because he got such a hiding from Honan. He couldn't fight, and he wouldn't fight. Yeah. So there's been a bad smell in professional boxing for a while here and there, it raised its ugly head now and again. But Saturday night was another night of shame. I hate saying it for professional boxing. There's no doubt in my mind. But anyway, Paddy will prevail. Paddy's a class boxer. He's at the height of his powers. The age 26. He's only up the road from us here in minutes, and we wish him well for the future. As Andy said, there might be a return fight clause in the contract, but I can't see Crocker fighting Paddy Donovan again. Can't see, you know. It was just now the phenomenon that is Luke Littler in darts. Everybody knows who Luke Littler is. He beat James Wade in the UK Open over the weekend. Not only did he beat James Wade, he absolutely annihilated him, one would say. 11-2. 11-2. I saw some of the legs. I'd say if you've blindfolded Luke Littler, he'd still get 180, you know? He's just I mean, to watch him play, I'm just amazed, you know. I'm just amazed, you know. He's just phenomenal, you know. His mind must be boom, boom, boom. I mean, I don't even know does he realize how good he is. I don't know that he won 110,000 anyway for his latest exploits, you know. So it's just phenomenal.
It's an interesting one, that UK Open, because there's no seeds in that.
Huh?
There's no seeds in the UK Open.
No.
So you get drawn. It's a little bit like the FA Cup. If the big teams were in round one,
you get drawn with the pub team
playing a proper little club. So I mean,
initially I was proud. I was proud going for the fight. I was proud of how he's boxing, how he's handling the occasion, the hostile crowd.
That's my fault there. I hit wrong, but I'll be shouting for Preston North End against Aston Villa, I must say, you know.
So here's a question for you. You talk about the FA Cup there, and if the big clubs were in the first round, how long before they decide that the Premier League clubs are not going to come into the FA Cup till the sixth round?
The quarter final?
Yeah.
it's not for. I mean, it's all stacked up for the Premier League, isn't it?
Yeah. So it'd be the round before the quarter final.
Yeah. I mean, it is stacked up in their favour.
Oh yeah, and it's only gonna get worse because I mean, you look at Burnley, and no disrespect to Preston North End, but to beat Burnley, a team that's at the top of the championship, to beat them 3-0 in the
and then they beat Charlton 2-1.
Yeah.
Then they beat Wickham. Yeah.
You know, I mean, how with all the changes that people are making now, how long before they start lobbying that we don't want to be in the FA Cup till such and such a time? You know, I mean, the way it's going and the way you're looking at the injuries that, I mean, the way injuries are going, Liverpool have been very fortunate. They've had no injuries to some of their top players like some of the other clubs. And they've really been fortunate that that hasn't hit them this year. But the other clubs, you know, everywhere you look, there's 5 or 6 guys out injured, and they're long-term injuries. It's not like they're out for, you know, they get injured and start, then they're playing again on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
They're long-term injuries. So the only way to solve it is for them to play less games, but that's not going to happen.
Well, they've won it twice. Preston North End. Don't ask me what years they were. They were back at Preston North End. Didn't they have a few famous players down in the history of?
No, never had any famous players. There was a guy called Tom Finney played for him for a while. He was a plumber.
Tom Finney, he was a plumber, was he?
It was that Lofthouse wasn't there, was he? He was Bolton, wasn't he? Was he Bolton or was he?
They Bolton, wasn't they?
That Lofthouse was Bolton. I know that. Tom Finney. Well, there's an ex-Preston North End player from Cork, recently, Shawnee Maguire, he's been signed now by Cork City, who are winning 1-0 tonight in the league. But anyway, uh, well, I'll be shouting for Preston against Villa, and I don't know if those matches are going to be played. But the top of the championship is good, is exciting over the weekend. 76 points leads are on, 73 Sheffield United, Burnley are on 68, Sunderland 65, Coventry. Uh, Frank is doing a good job there. Frank Lampard, they're on 53. West Brom and Blackburn on 52. Middlesbrough and Bristol City on 50. So it's a very, very tight championship, and they're going very well.
Have you watched any of the matches recently?
The championship?
Yeah.
I watched the highlights on ITV, yeah.
I watched I watched Leeds play in the midweek match.
Sheffield United.
I watched the Sheffield United match, and then the game before that, Leeds were losing 1-0.
Yeah.
They came back and they equalised, and then I think they scored in the
Injury time.
From two corner kicks, I think.
Yeah.
And then in the United match, they were losing 1-0.
Yeah.
Back and won 3-1 in the finish again in the last few minutes.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, there's some really good games in the championship.
There's some cracking soccer match. There's no VAR.
Yeah.
There's a human referee on the pitch.
It's real, isn't it? It's real football, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And
Ipswich are beating Forest 1-0.
Are they? Oh, because
they scored from a header from a corner.
So that it must be half time there, is it?
It's 65 minutes gone.
Oh, because that'd be a surprise.
Yeah, 65.
Yeah, there's no. As I said, there's only one non Premiership team left in the cup now. You know.
It'd be nice to see Ipswich do well in this, wouldn't it? Because they've struggled, haven't they?
Yeah.
Well, Ipswich when they were playing Brighton, you see, and who scored the winner for Brighton, Derwynne?
Of course.
Oh, Welbeck, wasn't it?
Yeah, Danny Welbeck, yeah.
Another United reject.
Yeah.
They could buy a few of these rejects back, couldn't they?
I'm not sure if it's a United reject or a Louis van Gaal reject.
It was a player that wasn't looked after properly.
Didn't he go from United to Arsenal?
Yeah.
Did he go to Arsenal?
He did, yeah.
Why would anyone go to Arsenal when they have a sort of a manager that's, well, I won't say anything.
Don't think they get much of a choice, do they, Joe?
No. To be honest, I mean, Van Gaal probably told him that he wasn't going to be part of his plans.
I think he went on loan to Brighton then first, didn't he?
Before, I'm not sure how that, but I know that United sold him to Arsenal, and
he definitely played with Arsenal for a while.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think who was the manager there then. Because who took over after Wenger? Was it?
Or who was there before Arteta?
Well, that your man at Aston Villa was there before Arteta.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Emery or whatever his name is.
Unai Emery, yeah.
Emery.
Was there anybody before Emery, between Wenger and Emery?
I don't know that. No.
I can't remember. But Danny Welbeck certainly played for Arsenal and was there for I think a couple of seasons before he moved on.
So before we go, lads, your thoughts on Aston Villa versus Bruges tomorrow night, and Arsenal versus PSV.
I think to be honest, I watched Villa against Cardiff at the weekend, and Villa just don't look sharp. And I was looking at John McGinn. I have a lot of time for John McGinn as a player, real energetic player. Scored a lot of goals for him. Was getting in the box, doing a lot of stuff. and he seems to have a different role now. He seems to be more sitting back and not breaking into the box as much as he used to before. And they just don't seem to have they just don't seem to have that sharpness about them that that is really going to take him over the top and start them.
Well, they'll be up against it with Bruges because Bruges are cock and hoop. Bruges are a very, very good soccer team. Very good soccer
They're
team.
well organised. They're
And didn't we have PSG versus Liverpool on Wednesday night?
I
Forest
think
have just equalised.
Oh, did they?
Equalised.
Yeah.
But they'll win it, so they'll win it. They're a good team.
I think that Liverpool game could be a cracker.
And the two Madrids, Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid, I'm looking forward to that tournament. It'll be bloodbath.
Was it at the weekend that Barcelona and Atletico played to a 4-4 tie?
I think so. I think.
Yeah, I think it was Saturday night, wasn't it?
I think at one stage Atletico were 2-0 up. Then Barcelona scored 4, I think.
Yeah.
And then Atletico scored 2 more to tie it up. So.
I like the manager. I like the manager at Atletico Madrid.
Oh, Simeone.
I like him. I like the cut of his jib, as they say. I like him. You know. But of course, the manager of Real Madrid is just pure. Ancelotti is a pure genius.
Yeah.
You know the way players come in and they seamlessly get in team and as if they're there forever, like Bellingham and Mbappe. You know, it's just the way it is, as we said. Well, a friend of mine commented on last week's program before we go. He said, I didn't realize there was nearly 7,000 people employed by Real Madrid, 6,689, he couldn't believe it. And I found it out.
It's funny, you talk about Ancelotti and what have you, and about coaches trying to change players and, doing things with them. And he was asked about, why players fit in and do his thing. He said, offensively, he said, I never tell a player what to do. He said, I don't tell Mbappe what to do. I don't tell Vinny Jr. what to do. He said, because they know what they need to do. Right?
Yeah.
They know what to do. They need to do, and they will do it. And if they see something different, then they get to do it, because that's what the only time I talk to players is when we're without the ball, because we have to be organized without the ball. He said that's the only time I coach players is this is what you have to do when we don't have the ball. When we have the ball, you play. And
that's a word of wisdom from Ancelotti and Joe in the program tonight, lads. Another Monday night gone by. And we have a good week of soccer to look forward to. From Derwynne, from Joe and myself, lads, it's been a blast again. Thanks very much for your time, and have a good week.
Thanks, boys. Take care.
Great weekend. Bye-bye.